sleeping. Oh, yeah. Squatchdtv, they're on the case. Steve and Chris, no mystery they can't face. Busting hoaxes, exposing lies. They're the champs of the Bigfoot mystery. Mystery. Bringing truth, science, and clarity. Squatchdtv, they're the real deal. Uncovering the truth, it's time to reveal. Squatchdtv, take us on your quest. Find the legend, put the rumors to rest. Late at night, shadows creeping. Deep in the woods, secrets lay sleeping. Oh yeah. Squatchdtv, they're on the case. Steve and Chris, no mystery they can't face. Busting hoaxes, exposing lies. They're the champs of the Bigfoot mystery. Bringing truth, science, and clarity. Squatchdtv, they're the real deal. Uncovering the truth, it's time to reveal.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Kulls, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D TV. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, July 28th, 2024. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, along with my co-host right down there, the man with the plan, Mr. Chris Bennett.
Good to see you, man. I hope you guys are doing all right up there. We've had a flood, man. I tell you what, today it has been raining all day. I have not seen such rain in a long time. I'm considering start building an ark.
No rain today, but make sure you bring two of every animal.
Yeah.
Two
Bigfoot or two Sasquatch. Yeah.
Bring in two Sasquatches, and don't be like Noah and forget the unicorns.
Yeah.
That's what happened. You do realize that, right? They got the ark underway, and he's like, oh, we never got a unicorn.
Forgot.
And the jackalope.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen those. Yeah. We've hunted those to extinction in the desert Southwest. I've seen all their heads out there.
It's amazing. None of this is planned. When we start off the show like that, you started mentioning the ark.
Yeah.
Like that was right on top of my head. Oh yeah. Noah forgot the unicorns.
Unscripted.
Or we could go to the far side. Good old Jim Larson, the late Jim Larson is great. The great comedian there, the cartoonist.
Yeah.
There was a cartoon, Noah's Ark. You see these like 8 legs sticking up. You can't see what's underneath. Yeah. He goes, well, so much for the unicorns. From now on, all carnivores are confined to sea deck. And there was a line in the background going like this. So
pretty bad.
Great. My other favorite from Larson was, he did a Bigfoot one.
Oh, he did?
He did. And Bigfoot was not in it. You just see. Well, he tried testing the joy buzzer, the handshake buzzer.
Yeah.
On the big primate. And there was just lab coat everywhere.
Oh, man.
All over the jungle. And then there was Mrs. O'Leary's cow. Remember knocking over the land and starting the Great Sugar. There's a fire off in the distance, and 2 cows are talking. Well, I see Agent 4877 did her job.
Man, what a sense of humor that guy had. Very ingenious.
Yes.
Come up with
So
all
yeah,
this.
a good twisted sense of humor.
I do good to write my name. I couldn't draw nothing.
The only thing I draw is a crowd.
I draw flies. I could draw those. Oh,
I pull that stuff at the doctor all the time. I'm going to draw your blood. Really? How long you been an artist?
Yeah. Oh,
see any red crayons? Anyway,
do they have? Wait a minute. Before we get off this, when they draw your blood, do they have problem finding the vein in your arm?
Oh no.
Well, man, I tell you what. Every time I go, when they draw blood to run the whatever tests they're going to do on me, and they poke my arm about 6 times. I'm like, and it's not just this one place. No, it's always been that way. I reckon I would make a poor drug user because nobody could find my veins.
Well, they can find my veins very easy. Good God. If I get any skinnier, I'm going to start having to wear skis in the shower so I don't get sucked down the drain.
Maybe that's the trick. I need to lose some of this fat off me.
I literally, it's kind of funny. Since I've been out of work since March, and I don't eat very much. I sit around. I'm not like a snacker. I putter around the house. Right. I putter around the yard once in a while because I got to be careful with my neck. Okay. But I got weighed in and I was like, wow, I haven't been that weight since I was like 23, 24 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm down to 170 pounds.
Wow.
Now I've lost quite a bit. For most of the time when I started getting into this, all through probably up until about 5 years ago, I was 190 pounds.
Yeah.
So 194 to be exact.
Yeah, about 3 months ago, we were doing that keto diet thing, and I was losing some weight, finally. And I could stand to lose a bunch more. But, I'm off of it now because it was too freaking expensive. Who the heck can afford to eat meat every day? I mean, Unfortunately, when I got into my 30s, I got on the Cheeto diet. I ended up gaining a bunch of weight by that. Never mind the keto diet. I got on the Cheeto diet. Yeah.
Right? All right. Anyway, let's do the roll call for tonight. Yeah. First in tonight, Walter Kroll. Good evening. Happy Sunday to you, sir. Thanks for being a member. Of course, another great member, Pete H. How are you? Hello. Tennessee Cherokee. How are you tonight, sir? Ristel is in the house. Another great. Grasshopper is here as well. Traveling with Jim. Hey, Jim, what's going on, brother?
Good to see you, man.
Horace Khan. Goni Gugu. Angel Nolan.
Angel.
Hey, here's a new one. Senior Chief. Hello, Senior Chief. Good.
All right.
Again, we've been getting a lot of new subscribers, so that's a good thing. And a lot of new people popping. Welcome. Pull up a chair, make yourself at home. It's going to be a fun time. The Beatron is in the house. Hello.
Welcome.
Ristel. Karen Fisher. Another new name. Good evening from Ohio. Welcome. I'll be in Ohio in 4 short days, Thursday evening. Yes. We already said Angel Nolan, but we already said Boris. Mrs. Trackway. How are you tonight, Mrs. Trackway? Mick, the mighty Mick is in the house.
Hey, man.
Jermac 10. Hello, Jermac 10. We've seen her before in the channel. Brian and Chewy go hiking. Hello, Brian, and hello, Chewy. Please give him a good pat on the head for us. Blue Ridge Bigfoot.
Blue Ridge.
And, he asked, what do I think of the baby Bigfoot photo? We don't discuss things on air live until I discuss it with you first personally. That's the way I operate.
Master Man. Helton. Welcome.
Robert Nunziata. Good to see you again, sir. Hello. Welcome. So excellent.
Everybody's we're continuing to come in a little bit late. That's good. Welcome. And to all the lurkers out there, you guys welcome. I do it.
Yeah, if you're lurking out there, say hello in chat. No, it doesn't hurt to have yourself acknowledged. All right.
I do that. A lot of times I'll turn on the YouTube thing, a live show, and I'll be working on something in the background while I'm listening, not really in the chatting mood.
Not in the chatting mood. I don't blame them. Sometimes Like I watch a couple of live podcasts. Nothing on Bigfoot, believe it or not. Very rarely do I. I mean, every once in a while, if I pop in on a Bigfoot podcast, I will say hello. But
Mhm.
I pop in other podcasts as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the crime podcasts, and sometimes I watch some of the news podcasts that come out. Some of the independent newsmakers.
Yeah.
But I never say any. I rarely say anything.
Yeah. I like listening, the
And the reason
pulling
why.
channels and stuff. Hmm.
And the reason why, most of the time when I'm watching those, even a lot of times when I'm watching Bigfoot podcasts, I'm on my couch watching it on my television.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, do that a lot. Watch on the TV, and I'm not signed in. I don't sign in to every TV in the house.
And Mrs. Trackway asks, is it promiscuous to be in two chats at once? No,
Oh.
but it is two timing. No, just kidding. Anyway, the discussion for tonight.
Yeah.
And it's still slow. You know what? The amazing thing is there aren't even many hoaxes coming out.
Yeah.
It's like everybody, the hoaxers took the summer off, but not us. We took a week off, a couple of weeks off, but we didn't, they're not taking the entire summer. No way. In fact, we are kind of slacking and getting doing videos in the middle of the week. We're going to start picking that up. Sometimes I need an event like Hocking Hills to kind of gear me up a little bit and rev me up a little bit. I've been dealing with a lot, folks, so I apologize for that. I do have a lot of great content and a lot of great ideas coming up. We got a couple of new top 10 lists coming out, and that's going to be really fun. But getting back to the topic tonight, and just for a program note before we get, program note is we will not be here Friday night because I will be in Logan, Ohio at the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Conference and Festival.
I was wondering, Steve, are you considering doing the live streams up there?
Yes,
or?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
So, I'm going to try to set up the stream for Friday. I can't see a reason why not, because I don't have I'm not taking any books with me. I'm not taking anything to sell with me. I'm just going to be there. So, and do my lecture bit. So I'm going to have a table set up. I'm going to be asking people for stories. We're going to try to get them on camera.
Oh man, I wish I could have got your books to you quicker because you're going to be out of pocket just going there to be.
Not really. They take care. They take care of my meals. They take care of my traveling.
Well, that's good.
And they give me a small stipend for speaking. So I'm cool with that.
That's good.
I'm cool with that. The way I look at it is we're making content for the channel, and that eventually will bring in money, and it's evergreen, so it's there forever. So it's all good. So anyway,
a lot of people don't realize that this is not that profitable of a thing. You're not going to make a fortune with Bigfoot unless you find one. I guess you could probably make some money.
Right. Well, I look at it this way. You can make some good money. Like Hocking Hills, you can make some really good money. But it doesn't happen every week. It doesn't happen every month.
Yeah, once a year.
It's not. It's like a couple of. You may find 2 or 3 good conferences a year and make some money out of it. Yeah. And then you have your YouTube income, which isn't very much, but it helps. It definitely helps. Yeah. And that's why we ask if you really like our content, support the channel, become a member. Now I know we haven't been doing member videos. I may do a member video Wednesday night before I go, just to give everybody an update about what I'm planning on doing while I'm there. So I'm going to do a members only video Wednesday evening. Kristen, you're more than welcome to come on about it. So
Wednesday, I don't know if I'll still be alive.
Oh no! Don't say that. Don't say that. Anyway, let's get into the topic tonight.
No, sorry, Mick, we don't do politics, but we don't do politics.
No, we don't.
Well, what happens when Bigfoot is discovered?
Right, and we're not talking about. All right, the scenario I say is you go to bed and you wake up the next morning and it's in the news. Bigfoot has been discovered. So we're not discussing what would you do if you did it. We're
Right.
asking what is the impact it will have
On the world.
on the world and in our community.
Yeah.
And I think that's now let's talk about first the scientific impact. This would lead to a massive reevaluation of understanding primates and human evolution. Definitely. They would be studying their biology, their behavior, and ecological role. They'll be studying their DNA, a whole bunch of stuff. Genetics, the DNA analysis would also provide a lot of insight into what they are and what their makeup is. So again, I think it's huge, and what their relation is to other primates. Last Sunday night, we did a hell of a show on the Homo naledi and other primates. And if you didn't catch that show and you're on here for the first time tonight, go back and check it out. It's a great show. We don't talk very much about Bigfoot during that show, but we talk about time periods. We talk about where they branched off. And that's very important because a SAS will branches off from one of these branches. Where it does, I don't know. Australopithecine, Arthropithecine, Paranthropus. Who knows? Maybe even a Homo from the Homo family. So who knows? Don't know.
Jermac. That's a good comment. I just have to say, who's the crazy one now? Huh?
Amen to that.
Yeah,
and we're talking about that. We're going to talk about that too. So I think that, and I've said this 1,001 times, that if a Bigfoot's discovered, they're not going to bring in Matt Moneymaker. They're not going to bring in me. They're not going to bring in, they may bring in Dr. Jeff Meldrum. They're going to bring in PhDs. They're going to bring in specialists, primatologists, anthropologists, maybe even archaeologists, depending on what condition the subject is in. Is it alive? Is it deceased? Maybe it's based on on their evidence rather than actually having a specimen.
Well, that's they could take DNA evidence or something. I guess that would prove it, but it's really not going to be in the books, I don't think, until they have a type specimen.
Well,
too many people are going to say, "Oh no, that could be just a chimera of DNA created in a lab or something."
I tend to agree. I tend to agree with that. Yeah. It's going to take a specimen. Yeah, you will see, Esteban Sarmiento. You will see Dr. Jeff Meldrum. You will see probably Dr. George Schaller and Dr. Jane Goodall. You will see.
Mick's got a good point here. If science ever pulls their collective heads out of their proverbial butts, the moment Sasquatch is officially discovered, a lot of scientists will swoop in. That's exactly right, Mick. There's going to be a lot of Johnny-come-latelys there.
They'll all be juxtaposing, trying to get their, hands on the
people that have been, staunch critics saying it's impossible. It can't. They're going to pop out. You're going to say, "Oh well, in my heart, I believed it was possible all along. I really wanted it to exist."
And this is one of the shows where we're looking at some grounded work here, but it's a lot of hypothetical situations going on here. Instead of, I was going to say hypotheses, but hypothetical situations more or less. Kaiju Ninja asked, do you agree with the relic hominid term that Jeff gives them? Well, why not? A hominid is, Australia's, anything on that chart, anything you see on this chart are hominids. And that includes gorillas, orangutans, pan troglodytes. So would
it be something that it actually has existed and we thought was extinct?
I don't think so. Because we have no evidence of such a creature. We don't have any bones, right? It's not on the list. Like, oh, we thought this is an Australia. their foot structure, and we know that due to the great work of Dr. Jeff Meldrum,
Right.
is inline toes and with a flexible midfoot, which is a divergence in most of them. Now, we talked about Homo naledi last week because they seem to have a very similar type of foot structure. They have a little, but they do have an arch. So maybe something, I'm guessing that a Sasquatch broke off before the naledi progressed into what they are. So, and that's, could they be Australopithecine? Because there are some Australopithecines that show a lot of midfoot flexibility, aka the mid-tarsal break. So again, that's all up for subjective. But these are questions that boggle my mind, that I am salivating when they get a specimen to find out. You understand? And we're going to get into that in the last bit of the topic. Environmental impact, will there be efforts to protect Bigfoot's habitat? Would it likely increase, leading to new conservation policies and possibly the creation of protected areas? Well, we know they've been seen all across the United States. To create a protected area, that would be kind of difficult because they don't. They're not like a. They're not like a panda. They're not like a koala. Well, koalas kind of roam all over Australia, but they're not like a panda, which is to a one little small geographic area, or the lowland or highland gorilla, or the chimpanzees, even where they primarily operate out of a very small area, not such a vast area.
Right.
So they can create protected areas for chimpanzees and gorillas because that area is not the size of the United States.
Right. They have a specific home range they live in.
And when they've been cited in 49 of the 50 states, legitimate sightings, that makes a lot of sense. It's going to be kind of difficult, but will they enact laws to protect them? I'm sure they will, and they'll probably be very quick to do that.
I'll tell you something that's going to be very sketchy is the logging in the Pacific Northwest. That's going to be, of course, if they created you can't log anymore in Kentucky, well, that's not going to affect us that much. Not too many people make a living here.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The fact is, logging has been going on, and has been going on since man showed up in the Pacific Northwest, or the Europeans showed up in the Pacific Northwest. So do I think, that the government would have to show logging having an effect on their habitats, which really it has not, because they're smart and they move, something's getting forested, they move, and their adaptability. The reason why the spotted owl or some of these other animals like the panda, for instance, the panda has a very specific diet, right? You can't get it to move off. So you have to protect that area because that's where their food grows. Same thing with I suppose the same thing with the spotted owl. It was because their habitat had item specific food that they ingest. So I don't think it will have that great a deal of an impact, but it would put the fear into a lot of layman type of government officials. It would put the fear into layman type loggers, and the logging community would be like, oh, here we go, spotted owl all over again. And I understand that, but I don't think there's a good argument to say, listen, they've existed on this continent, and we have evidence of that going back the last 200 years with sightings of them, more than 250, 60 years actually now.
Yeah.
1750s.
Sharon?
And there is definitely an argument to say that they really, our logging hasn't affected them.
Well, you can be sure that there's going to be a lot of U.S. grant money given out for research and studies.
There's going to be, yeah. Let's face it. There's going to be a lot of that. There's the pucker factor will be there for certain industries. You know, and again, you know, the other thing is how does it relate to biodiversity in there? I mean, you know, I remember being asked a question. I was a guest on a show, and they had a skeptic on the show, or kind of he was one of the hosts, but he was skeptical about the topic, and he says, you know, how would you know, if it's discovered, you know, how is that going to change the ecosystem? I go, what do you mean change? It's been there.
Yeah.
It's been in the ecosystem, so there's not going to be a change to it. It's been there. Oh, you know, so yeah, and the same thing with the logging. You know, it's been there. So what's there to change?
You think they would be classified as an endangered species, though, because they've got to be rare? I mean, not too many people have seen them.
There could be a good argument for that too. That so many people have seen them across 48, 49 states and Canada. That.
Yeah, but you know, all those people are crazy.
They may not be an endangered species, but they may be put on the risk list.
Yeah.
You know, where maybe it's going to be illegal. You know, I would dare say it's probably going to be illegal to trap them, capture them, or keep one as a pet. That much is certain, because once they end up realizing it's a primate, you know, there are states that have enacted laws like New York that you can't own a primate unless you're a zookeeper, a licensed zookeeper.
Right.
So that's why we have no running loose chimpanzees or, you know, bonobos or any of those or even lemurs or capuchin monkeys. We have none of those in New York. Nobody owns those. The only way you can go to see one is go to a zoo. In Ohio, like the states like Ohio, up until recently, I mean, remember that horrible Zanesville, Ohio, that private zoo where the animals got out, and law enforcement responded by killing all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
Yeah.
Like a couple of hundred cats, you know, big cats. And there was a few other animals, a couple of bears and some other. It was horrible, horrid.
Tigers and bears. Oh my.
Because they didn't, you know, here's a lion running around, you know, a suburban neighborhood. You don't know what it's going to do. And
well, yeah. You know what,
but the sad thing about it is their lack of understanding of those animals. You know.
Well, yeah, but true. You know, even though I understand what a lion is, but if I get one in my front yard, you know, and it's kind of making me feel like my life is threatened.
Right.
Coming right.
But the fact is they weren't. They were just there, not caged up, and instead of waiting for the tranquilizer, they. It was like it was horrible, and.
Yeah, trigger happy.
Well, no, they had orders to do it. That was their orders. So that order came from the top, because I'm sure some of those cops probably have some reservations in their life now going, you know.
Oh yeah, but you know, people come first. Okay. You know,
great.
You gotta protect the people more than you gotta protect the animal. And that makes sense. If a lion killed a 5-year-old kid or something, you know,
sure. Yeah. And it would fall upon the police departments, you know. Well, we had him in our sights.
Right.
We had him in our sights. You didn't kill him, and then he turned around and ate everybody's. He ate the family dog. He ate the 3-year-old, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a good scene. Let's talk about cultural impact for a minute. You know, Bigfoot has been part of many cultures and folklore. We talk about it all the time, the Micmac Indians and Go-Go and the Iroquois with the Aninarhe. And of course you have, you know, the Salis Indians, the Sasquatch, or Sasquatch, however you want to pronounce it. You know, Skookum, many different names. It would tend to validate their stories of these things being real. And, you know, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a bunch of historians and a bunch of anthropologists, which there's different fields in anthropology, and part of that is studying past history. and they could jump in and go to the front, and there'll be tons of studies on trying to root out the real story of these Native American stories. Well, he said they ate people. Do they really eat people?
Yeah.
No, they're hard to say. But
That's where the government grants come in. People doing studies. Let's do a study and see if Bigfoot will eat a dead body.
Right. Yeah. What will they predate on? What will they scavenge on? Of course, there would be a ton of documentaries out, and none of us will be on those documentaries other than saying, "Hey, I told you so." Unless they were interviewing people who'll tell you, "I told you so." You'll get the witnesses.
Be one of them.
You'll get the witnesses on film, and then you'll get the scientists. That's what you'll end up getting. And you know what? Truthfully, rightfully so, because they're the ones. They're the ones that are going to put the name on it.
And then, you know what? You're also going to have a crowd of people, because they're out there. All right, the weirdos that want to go live with Bigfoot.
There's weirdos out there now that think they're living with Bigfoot.
What's that? The grizzly guy's name? Timothy Treadwell, was that his name? The one that lived with the grizzlies and got to eat for his trouble.
Yeah, unfortunately, his girlfriend got it too. Yeah, I mean, there's a guy that let his guard down. He got too romantic with the bears. To say there is, we talk about that, about people trying to communicate with Bigfoot and thinking that the anthropocentrism,
right?
And that's what was creeping in with Timothy Treadwell, is that he was giving. If you watch that thing. And Werner Herzog did a marvelous documentary on that. In case you're wondering who Werner Herzog was, here's a little Mandalorian history. He was the first Empire bad guy, the older guy that was the scientist that you saw in the very first one. But Werner did this great documentary, and he explores those things that, the romanticism with the bears and stuff. And the problem is he was getting romantic with foxes. And what I say romantic is not anything sexual in nature. I'm talking about as in the mind, you're getting romantic. Oh, these are my friends. No, they're not your friends. They may appreciate you petting them or feeding them or talking to them at the time, like any other animal does. Like my dog wags his tail when I talk to him. The office assistant who's on sabbatical right now, taking a nap.
Don't go assigning human qualities to an animal.
Right. And that's what happened. And he paid the ultimate price for that. It's one thing to understand the behavior of an animal. It's the other thing to say, no, people were misinformed and people have, no, they haven't. How many, that's a whole topic for a whole nother show. Not only would there be, you're going to find Bigfoot reports now. After that, get national attention. You'll start seeing that for a few weeks. That'll be something the media will harp onto. Why? Because it's a story. Let's look at how the media acts, the mainstream media acts, because this was never the way before 84, 85, when CNN became the first real 24-hour news network. That started something. That was a shift in media. And what that was it set it to a 24-hour news cycle. Whereas in the old media back in the 80s, when Chris and I were growing up in teens and starting trouble, you would get news at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning. You would get news at noon, and you would get news maybe you would start the news about 5 or 6 o'clock, and it would end about 7. So you'd have these little blurps, an hour of local. You would get an hour of local news, an hour of national news, and you would get those once in the evening, and you would get, maybe a half hour of local news and a half hour of national, at the noontime hour, and usually you got an hour of local news in the morning and a half hour of national news in the morning, depending on. And then of course you would get your special bulletins and break-ins. Now we're on a 24-hour news cycle, because I mean, think about all the channels that you go to YouTube, and there, each network has their own YouTube channel and 24-hour news, regardless. ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, Sky News. Everybody is worldwide is on this 24-hour news cycle. Al Jazeera,
Matt. Central Florida Bigfoot. There's Matt.
Pretty big. So you have that to contend with, and what'll end up happening is, and if you think about it, how does the news media react? They tend to focus and get tunnel visioned on certain topics. Like example, back in the late 80s, when the 24-hour news cycle started, they were all focused on these daycare centers and what they were doing to children. Right. And it was story after story after story after story. And eventually it faded. And then it turns out that most of the stories were wrong. The McMartins were found innocent. Right. Then we had the scandal with the church, the Catholic Church. And then all you heard about was this and this, and this priest did this, and this priest did that, and that priest did this, and that, blah, 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 blah. And that's all you heard about. Right. That's why when you hear about certain things, topics, they just keep on going with it. And, as we've seen in the news cycle a few weeks ago, it was all about what happened in Pennsylvania. Right. Then a week later, it's all about what happened in Delaware and what happened in Washington. What's happening in Washington. They tend to tunnel vision on things, and that's all I talk about. And then you'll get 5 minutes of the news you normally get. Right. That's what's going to happen with this for a while. They're going to just focus on it. They'll do a lot of documentaries. There'll be news specials on it. There'll be stuff like that, and you're going to get it up the yazoo.
Brian.
I mean, am I wrong?
Nope. That's right. That's what'll happen. And then, it'll be a hot topic for a little while, and they'll just drop it like a hot potato. But everybody else is still going to be, and everybody in the world is going to go, oh, these things exist? Right. Well, cancel that camping trip.
Now, what's going to end up happening is areas known for Bigfoot sightings could see a boost in tourism.
Yeah. With
both enthusiast researchers and the general public all rushing to these areas. Hey, I know there's been Bigfoot sightings in this state forest. I'm going to all rush out there and let's go,
I think it's going to be 50-50, because you're going to have some people that say, well, that's it. I'm not camping again forever. And then you're going to have some people say, okay, honey, let's go buy a tent and go camping, because we're going to find us a
Yeah, you may be right. It may keep people away. Yeah. You don't know. Because there are, especially if you have children. Am I going to go camping in this area? Because I don't know what this big thing is going to do. I don't want him ripping apart my kid. I don't want him ripping up my campsite. I don't want him, or them. So, legal and ethical considerations. So, of course, protection laws. And what they'll do is you will see laws primarily made not only to protect them, but to prevent them from being exploited. Like, for example, in the United States, it's illegal to bring in ivory. Do you know that?
Yeah. For a while. Yeah.
Not only from elephants, but whales as well.
Yeah.
It's illegal to bring in whale bones or elephant bones. Exploitation. I mean, they will very quickly make laws to protect them, I think, because, unfortunately, they did that in Africa, but some of those countries, their laws are pretty loose because of the actual power strength of the government. Yeah. Like the Congo. How long has that place been in civil war? And we talk about all these other wars that go around the world,
When
but
it hadn't been, yeah,
we don't talk about the Congo where it's been going on, and these freaking gorillas are in the crossfire of that BS constantly.
Bushmeat, you know, that's
Yes.
what kind of meat is this? That's bushmeat.
Bushmeat.
Gorilla could be.
No, thank you.
That's right. I'll pass on the bushmeat burger. Thanks.
Right.
Might have been my buddy that's missing over there. You know.
Yes, you've heard of ratatouille. This is batatouille.
Mm-hmm. Benetouille.
Batatouille, yeah.
Batatouille. Excuse me. Yeah.
Reminds me of the scene from History of the World, Part 1. Nothing for sale. I have absolutely nothing for sale.
Yeah.
Apple cores for sale. Apple cores for sale.
Well, that's been a while since I've seen that one.
Rats for sale. Rats for sale. You can make rat pie, rat stew, and the ever so popular ratatouille.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah, so you can see where my twisted sense of humor has come from. And as a child, I was exposed to that.
It's going to be kind of odd to think about what new laws and stuff they're going to try to make,
sure.
because the best thing they could do would be to just leave them alone. You know, they don't need us coming in there trying to help them. No, they need us to stay away from them.
Well, I think there's a very important need to understand the genetic makeup of them.
Yeah, it is.
Their biology of them, how they act, how they live, how they do. Because what Jane Goodall did with the chimpanzees and did to the gorilla, and Diane Fossey did for the gorillas. Did they not help conserve them? They did. They absolutely brought that awareness up on a global scale. And we learned a lot about our own selves by observing them in their family units, observing them in captivity, trying to teach them different things and seeing how they respond to that. And that is true of all the big great apes, the belly apes, the bonobos, the pan-troglodytes, the chimpanzees, the gorilla barangay, and the orangutans. All very much so. Very important to understand how they behave, because it's a very good look at our early ancestry. Yeah. And I know Gary's going to hate me saying that.
Well, I think one of the big things about it, it's going to be humans coexisted with another bipedal primate. That's going to be the science. The whole topic is going to be blown up.
Right.
Oh my God. They don't realize it yet. We already know. We know they're out there, but they don't realize this yet. And when they finally do, they're going to be going, oh my God.
Right. And finally trying to say what new laws. So let me stop. Let me stop there and say that the U.S. Department of Interior, environmental EPA, and can make law administratively. They don't need a law in Congress to make something an endangered species or a protective species. That is actually enabled by the agency, the Department of Interior.
Yeah. Well,
That's who makes that. Right.
They can make up rules too,
Correct. They make up the rules, and that's what they're empowered to do. Yep.
ATF is always making up rules. Of course, we won't go there.
Yeah. Rules and regulations aren't our.
Yeah. And we should do some shows one of these days about stuff.
Here's the thing, Hilton. Now, I want you to think about this. You say, I love idiots who, this is Hilton's comment. He says, I love idiots who think Bigfoot, do the Bigfoot protection BS like they need our help. Pretty sure they're doing fine without our help.
Yeah.
That may be so. Hold on. That may be so today in the last couple of 100 years. But as we know, things become dynamic, right? There is a big debate over the Second Amendment and the type of armament that falls under that protection. Right. And you have to think about it when our founding fathers made that law. It took a minute and a half to reload the musket. Well, that was actually Kentucky law. A good musket man can get off 3 shots in a minute.
Yeah.
Right. A long rifle, a barreled rifle, took about a minute to get off a shot because it was a little different process.
You got to reload. Yeah.
Right. So, this is not a debate about the Second Amendment. What this is, I'm just saying is that nobody can foresee what is going to happen in 150 years. So maybe it's best we protect them now with rules and regulations rather than having something tragic happen, like to the dodos or to the the whale. The humpback whales came very close to extinction.
Well, and our population keeps increasing, and I was looking at this here a while back. In like 1984 or something, I think the United States had about 210 million people. And now this looks like in 2024, we got about 330 some odd million. So that's over 100 million people since 1984 have been added to the United States.
David Parker brings up the dilemma of how to classify Bigfoot. Is it animal or people? Well, I don't know. I don't see them building homes. I don't see them having any more further abilities than maybe a chimpanzee.
For sure, it would be classified as a bipedal primate.
Right. The only thing it does is it walks upright like us, and people have gone off the rails with that, and that is part of that romantic thing. Just because it walks upright doesn't mean it's us. Homo naledi was not us. The Australopithecines were not us, but they walked upright. Right. So Paranthropus. If you saw a Paranthropus, it would not look human at all, but it walked upright. So but Homo naledi had cultures, right? And they had, how should I say it? It's very difficult. People, by definition, people mean Homo sapiens humans. That's by the Webster's definition. Yeah. So,
very cool.
Because let's face it, I don't think a Bigfoot would go to driving school. I do not think they would.
They're way beyond chimps and gorillas, I believe.
Well, how so? I'd like to know, why are they so far beyond a chimp or gorilla? Because they walk upright. That's the only thing. Well, they don't use complex. They stay hidden. Well, gorillas are pretty damn good at it too. They took them 70 years to find the mountain gorilla, right?
And they were really, really looking for him. Yeah.
Right.
Other than researchers, there's nobody looking for Bigfoot here.
Right.
9 times, or probably 99% of the time, when a new sighting is reported, it's from somebody that had no idea that these things existed. They're just walking around in the woods and like, what's that?
Right. The problem is that we put so much and David, I appreciate that response. That's a great segue to say, people need to put themselves in check sometimes and say, wait, am I attributing way more ability? And that's true. We got fire. We create fire. Bigfoot does not. We fashion tools. Bigfoot does not. It uses simple tools. Yeah. It may use a rock. It may have that smart ability. It has and its senses are made. I mean, think about the evolutionary steps in a Bigfoot's DNA and its genetic makeup. It has survived because it has found a way to avoid the apex predator on the planet, and that is us.
Chimpanzees use primitive tools like sticks and stuff like that.
Exactly. We don't see a Bigfoot fashioning tools. So I don't know. And just because they have a big head doesn't necessarily mean it has a big brain.
Yeah, that's true.
That's been proven before too. There is no archaeological evidence. I mean, if they're making complicated tools, or they're making tools and they're making fires, there would be archaeological evidence.
Yeah.
Vast numbers of reports of spoken language, but those are anecdotal. Chimpanzees have a chatter that is not necessarily, it's a language, but it's not a language that we understand. Dolphins and porpoises have languages. They click, and their clicks mean different things. Just like a chimpanzee, their hoots and hollers mean different things. And I know there's people that say they hear, almost like Native American stuff like that. I don't know. I've never heard anything like that. Maybe I need to. I don't know. But I guess what I'm saying is just because it may speak in a way that it alerts other of its kind to certain things doesn't mean they're sitting by a campfire having a conversation like we are.
Yeah.
Right? Chimpanzees do that too, but and right next to one another, and they perform and they do. When I listen to the Sierra Sounds and I hear that one, when I hear that, I hear something very similar to what a chimpanzee or a pissed off gorilla would be saying. Right. And again, we won't know they have language until we have their genetics. Yeah, I mean, and orangutans who are lower on the scale than orangutans are lower on the scale DNA wise to us versus the gorilla and versus the chimpanzee. Yet the orangutans will fashion pillows out of sticks and twigs, fashion blankets in their beds so they can cover themselves and so they have something nice to lay their head on. So, but yet it still can't make a complicated tool. It can't still figure out how to start a fire. It still can't figure out that if I make this stone and tie it with a vine to a stick, it can make a hammer. They haven't figured that out. Neither have chimps. And chimps have 98.6 or 4%, 98.4% of our DNA.
It's really close. Yeah.
98.4%.
Kaiju Ninja says, would you expect Sasquatch to be in zoos? No, I would.
You never know. You don't know. There may be one or two. Don't know.
No.
Don't know. They're so good at getting away from us. I don't see, it took how many years to find one.
Can you imagine the backlash? Okay, if Bigfoot is proven to exist and they send out scientific research teams to capture a family group, put them in a zoo. Can you imagine the blowback from society? Be like,
well, why would we have blowback? We do that to the chimpanzees and gorillas.
They're too human-like.
They just walk upright again. They have every.
That's it. Because they walk upright.
Because they walk upright, we want to assign all this other stuff.
That's exactly
but truthfully, if somebody put a Sasquatch in a zoo, I would be there 50, 60 hours a week just watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be the first one in line.
Yeah. But I don't think it'll ever happen. There would be people burn the zoo down.
I don't think so. I think, listen, there is only 35% of the American population that believes this thing exists. Right? Yeah. Don't you think the other 65% are like, oh, I would love to see one now that they're real. Yeah. Right? Sure. Yeah. So I don't think people are going to rush to burn. Yeah, they're going to be your fanatics because there are, but I don't think it's going to be a mass as big as you think that it's going to be.
Dude, just to save the whales people, that them alone, that would be, they would.
Yeah, but you know what? But the thing is to save the whales people are actually like, what's that name of that group? Well, anyway, they had that TV show for a while.
Was it the Sea Shepherds?
Sea Shepherd org. They seem
Whale
radical.
Wars. Whale Wars.
Right. With the sea, but they seem radical. and I understand that.
Yeah, they did.
But they're fighting something a little different.
Right.
They're having people doing illegal fishing, and they're under the illegal whale herding and killing under the guidance of research.
Yeah.
Right? Which is bullshit. Pardon my French. Right? So sometimes you have to be radical. You have to do some radical things sometimes. And that's one of those cases. It's the high seas. These people are not adhering to the laws, and nobody's doing anything about it. So they're doing something about it. Just like the Congo Rangers, are in that forest, and they don't care whose government is in charge at that particular time, but they're going to protect the gorillas with firearms.
See, David Parker gets it. Put him in prison for no crime. Yeah. That's what a lot of the conservationists would be saying. You put them in prison. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It would be wild. I'm telling you.
You'll have your PETA activists, yes, and we have those, but I don't see it like a mass. You might find a little higher and normal resistance to that, I think, at first, but I think it will die down like most.
Yeah. Ristel says, I don't know if I could watch one in a zoo. It would be sad. I couldn't help but go and look. I would go.
You know what? You never know. It might have
it.
It may have a hoot. I mean, I was sitting there, and I remember taking my son to Busch Gardens down in Tampa, and they have, and he is all of about tall, maybe a little about as tall as my desk, right, at the time. And there was a chimpanzee that came up to him on the glass, and the chimpanzee just had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And he did too. They were laughing and pointing at one another, and the chimpanzee was jumping up and down excited. What does a primate need? It needs an area to live, feel safe, right? It needs some of its natural. It's got things to climb on. It's got fresh water. It's got food. It's got medical care, right? And it's just in an enclosure that people can look into. It's nothing cruel about it. Now, now, hold on. We go to Tiger King, and you put an animal that ranges on the open range and predates and hunts, and you put it in a cage the size of my office. Yeah, that's bullshit. Pardon my French. That's cruel.
Oh, Pete's got a good question. Pete 8 says, do you think the discovery of Sasquatch would affect Christianity?
No.
I don't think it would at all. No.
I mean, the existence of the chimpanzee, which has 98.4% of our DNA, has not affected Christianity.
Yeah.
Neither is the Homo naledi. Neither has any of that. It'd just be another paleo-anthropological, or actually an anthropological discovery of significant.
And there's evidence, there's talked about hairy people in the Bible too. So I don't think it would be that big of a reach for Christians. Would it be evidence, some really good evidence of a that would, people, Christianities, some of them look at it as from creationism, okay, and some people don't mind going with the Darwin stuff. So I don't think it would affect it.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know.
I don't think it would.
Well, as far as them being in a zoo, I don't know. It's a good question, and I understand why some people might feel. Well, Jen said, "What if they were nomadic?" However, a cage ain't going to do. But all the evidence we've seen is that they're not nomadic. The primates generally have their summer homes and winter homes a lot of times. But if they find an area such as the orangutans and the gorillas, they find an area that's temperate and they don't need to move. They don't. But there are, look at us. Look at our Native American Aboriginals. When the winter came, they moved off the plains. They moved someplace else. And then when the summer came, they moved back.
Right.
I don't think there are too many true nomadic primates other than us. And that was a cultural thing, not a a DNA thing.
Well, a lot of people see them, or they seem to be more prevalent certain times of the year. So that led to a lot of the nomadic theories. And believe me, I was on that bus there at one time that these things are nomadic. And I think that for you could define them that way too, because they do have different areas that they stay at different times of the year. But I think it all boils down to food. The food supply.
Right. It's not nomadic means that they'll be here and then they just move. They keep moving.
Right.
The nomads just keep moving. They don't put
Right.
down any length of time in any one place. What we find with primates is they put down in this place for a period of time and they put down in this place for a period of time. And the reason why is because of weather and because of food source. So if you're giving them all that, they no longer have that need to be nomadic.
Yeah.
And that's why,
some people consider a combination of Darwinism and creationism. Yeah. That's true.
One of the most interesting things though, when I visited SeaWorld, I thought was fascinating was the penguin house, right? And you walk through this tube and the penguins are there. And the reason why you walk through this tube is because the temperature in the penguin house is like 30 degrees or 28 degrees, right? And when I went through, it was dark because it was very dim lit because during that time of the year in Antarctica, they would not have that much sun. Well, well, hold on. Let me explain one thing to you. Blue Ridge May said, there are plenty of deer everywhere. Food's not an issue. It can be. And I'll tell you why. They are, nobody says that a Bigfoot is predating on deer everywhere. You may have some that are fish that eat fish because it's right there and it's easy and it's a available source. Yeah. And then at a particular point in time, those fish move upstream or downstream. So the Bigfoot will move to where the fish go. Has nothing to do with the availability of food. It has to do with what they eat. Just like in New York, we think they eat a lot of apples because there's been a lot of sightings in apple orchards, around apple orchards, right? Well, funny thing happens is in October, all the apples are done. All the leaves have fallen. And now in parts of the forest, they have no cover because there's no leaves on the trees. So they move. It doesn't always have to be food. It has to be a number of different factors. So don't.
Yeah. They stay in a certain area when there's no foliage, then that's a risk of being discovered.
And again, that's their defense. Is they avoidance is their defense.
I remember that, Gary. Kid fell down in the gorilla pit, and then they shot the gorilla. But I didn't even think from the videos I saw on that, I didn't think the gorilla was threatening the child in any way. But yeah, he got a death sentence just for being, because the kid fell in his house.
I will say this. That if a Bigfoot was captured or a body was found, it probably will be another 10 to 15 to 20 years before you would ever see one in a zoo, because think of the logistical and the liability. Because number one, you can't put an animal in a zoo or anything in a zoo for that matter if you don't understand it. And that's going to take an understanding of it, because knowing that you're not talking about a chimpanzee or even a gorilla, where if you put up a 15-foot wall, they're not going to get up over it, right? But a Sasquatch that's 8 foot tall, may grab their child and throw them over.
Yeah, that's right.
So
get out. Go, Junior, go.
You can put glass up and put them in a glass house. But what if that creature decides to start banging on it and kicking it and banging on it and kicking it, and its weight? A gorilla is pretty weighty, but a Sasquatch is not only weighty, it's versatile. It's a little more limber.
And I think there's evidence to suggest that Bigfoot has a little bit more brain power than what chimpanzees and gorillas have. I believe there is. because they're very well adapted to keeping
Well,
out of the human eye. They stay hid very well.
but then again, the chimpanzees have learned to do that too. They just learned it a different way. And I understand that was probably because, if you think about it, here's a very interesting dichotomy here, Chris. I think you'll appreciate this. When did a Sasquatch start to use avoidance as a defensive skill?
Yeah, probably as soon as they found out humans had boomsticks.
No.
I bet.
They see, because the Native Americans, in their legends, they saw them all the time, right?
Well,
what I think happened was the boomsticks combined with going after the Native Americans. They learned really quickly we might want to avoid these different looking types of people.
They have weapons. Yeah.
Well, they have something.
Right. Whereas before, thanks to the research and of the Denisovan cave or Denisova, whatever you want to call them. Okay. Denisovans. Okay.
Denisovan cave.
We know that the early man, sort of like interconnected with the Neanderthals. And looked like they had some mixed relationships there, and that's cool. But with Bigfoot, there probably was no chance of that. They wouldn't see him as a potential girlfriend or boyfriend. They would see him as, oh my God, that's an enemy. That's a hairy thing, and we got to kill it. And I think that there's a lot of that too.
Well, again, you have that
tribal mentality.
Sentinel Island.
Them or us.
Sentinel Island off the coast of India. That's that tribe that has not had any contact.
Yeah, don't go there.
They will kill people on sight.
Oh, man. Mick says, if Sasquatch is officially recognized, I'm never going in the woods without a bright reflective vest on. Don't want to get shot by yahoos and cowboys.
Just wear a shirt, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Just wear a shirt.
Wear a shirt, especially if you're hairy. Make sure you wear a shirt.
Wear a shirt. Ever see the hat for the mother-in-law? Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, take her out there. Why does my hat have antlers on it? Oh, it's a great hat. Anyway. Public reaction. Skepticism and belief. There will be a range of reactions from skepticism to fervent belief. Good God, there's fervent belief now. Public interest in cryptozoology and other mysterious creatures might increase. People start saying, well, if the Bigfoot exists, maybe the chupacabra exists. Whatever happened to the chupacabra anyway? Whatever happened to the chupacabra? We don't talk about the chupacabra anymore. We have Dogman channels. We don't have a chupacabra channel.
Well, I think a lot of those are like in Central and South America, though. They're not really hanging out in the U.S. that much.
Community impact. Local communities in regions where Bigfoot is discovered could experience both positive and negative effects from increased tourism to potential disruptions. Here comes the yahoos with all their shotguns. That's why those rules and regulations need to be put in place. People say that, there's another great reason why it's a good reason to put that rule and regulation. Not necessarily to protect the Bigfoot from us, protect us from us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the main
Because
problem.
you know what happened? You're going to have a bunch of yahoos in the woods with guns that have never had guns or been in the woods before. We're going to get ourselves a Bigfoot. And they're going to end up shooting. They're going to end up shooting the mother-in-law with the hat.
Kaiju Ninja says, what happened to the Loch Ness Monster? I don't know.
He's vacationing in the Bahamas right now.
Steve went over there and looked for him.
I did.
I won't list that out, Germac 10, but I've heard that too. Yeah. I won't put that up, but yeah, I've heard that. That's one of the funnier things. And possible, it's possible. That's one of the possible explanations for Nessie. Yeah.
I'm speechless.
If you guys are listening on the podcast, you want to come in and watch the replay on the live stream and check out the chat. Germac 10's comment. I'm not going to put it up for the video. But possible explanation for Nessie, and that's plausible. Not only possible, plausible.
I'll say it. He said the Loch Ness monster is basically a whale.
Oh, you're killing me, guys.
Okay.
All right.
Now we're getting into
what were we on now? I'm sorry. I got sidetracked there with Nessie.
part 2 of our discussion tonight. Dun, dun, dun. What will it do to the Bigfoot community?
Hey, Vic Kumar.
Vic, welcome. What will it do? Will our channels be worthless after that? Will our Facebook groups be worthless after that? Will our websites be worthless after that?
No, I don't think so. I think there'll be a renewed interest. I think there will.
There'll be a surge in interest, absolutely. Massive increase, because now people from all over are going to be looking to, where they can. You're going to see servers crashing all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead to a larger audience and engagement into the.
For a little while. But once it gets out of the news cycle, then, it's kind of slow.
Well, if they find it and they find it interesting, they may keep subscribing. They may keep watching it to learn more.
Right.
As long as your content is good. Not showing your, Bigfoot pictures from years ago.
Yeah.
Like I said, people who were previously skeptical or uninterested might start following these platforms to stay updated on the latest and new things. It's true. I didn't believe in it, but I'm going to start. That's why the truth is so important to us, and that's why I never want to go too far off the reservation. I mean, there's a lot of ideas and a lot of, and I understand people have some of their rationalizations for it, but I have my rationalizations for my theories too. And like I said, we don't see Bigfoot using any complicated tools or fire or anything like that. And it's naked, for crying out loud, in the woods. You ever get a tick on the hoo-ha? Talk about a whale.
Love ticks.
It's a whale of a good time, I'll tell you. No, I didn't.
Ticks are devious little rascals. Very devious. They can get into places that, you would
They're
never
parasites. That's why.
There's Martin McTie. Welcome, Martin. What draft choice would be Sasquatch draw in the NBA draft? He's wanting to put him to playing basketball. I don't know. I'd say they'd probably do pretty good.
Yeah, they're going to create a whole new NBA, the National Bigfoot Basketball, the NBBA. Bigfoot Ball. National Bigfoot Ball Association. That's what it'll be.
NBBA.
Unfortunately, they have to replace the nets about 17 times a game.
Hey, welcome. Oh, man. But, I can see a lot of people, having a renewed interest and saying, well, geez, I didn't know these things really existed. I kind of wondered, but now that they do, I think I'm going camping next weekend. See, I think I'm going to get out in the woods and see if I can see one.
All these clickbaity channels. Let's just talk about this for a second. Shows that run these stories without putting faces to them. Shows that read stories off of emails. Shows that, or channels that constantly put up old pictures or bad Bigfoot pictures or stuff like that. Bye-bye. because that is the reason why we are always so serious about this in ways. We have a lot of fun on our show, no doubt, but our topics are serious and they're on point and they're truthful and they try to say scientifically objective and investigatively objective. That's because we're in position that if something like this were to happen, we would have a shift in focus. Our content would change from speculation and investigation to covering scientific research, interviews with the people that have their hands on, and updates on the studies. And that's what the show would turn into. So we're in good position for that because that's what we do.
Well, Kaiju Ninja says Bigfoot's proven real in North America and Canada. Does that mean Yowie, Yeti, etc. would also be real? Well, of course.
Well, you know what? It would lead to a lot of people becoming serious about the Yowie and the Yeti and the Yeren and the Orang Pendek and all of that. I mean, you would see scientists all over the place juxtapositioning themselves to get involved in those different areas.
They found one in the U.S. or they found one in Canada, so we got to find one in Australia.
If they found one in Australia, you definitely know that. I mean, let's think about the opposite way. Whatever was found in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You think dollars to donuts? There'd be a bunch of American scientists going, "Hey, wait, whoa, this thing's real. Oh, I want to get involved."
Yeah, exactly.
Because, and props to Dr. Jeff Meldrum and to Dr. Sarmiento and to the late Dr. Fish and Krantz and Bender Nagel, because all these people want to jump in then because now it's a safe zone, right? You don't want to go outside the safe zone. That's why I like Neil Tyson DeGrasse, but I don't like Neil Tyson DeGrasse because he's afraid to go out of his comfort zone a lot of times. He'll talk about stuff, but he's always poo-pooing things instead of, but Dr. Michio Kaku, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal guy. That's what a scientist is. A scientist is an explorer of science. So they shouldn't be so.
That's a good question, Mick. Said Mick says, Chris, would you want to go back in the woods where the type specimen was captured? I'd worry about being the hunted.
See, again, that is anthropocentrism.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Hold on. Time. That is revenge. That is a human Homo sapien emotion.
Yeah, but I've seen pissed off chimpanzees too.
Yeah, but right, but if it's at the thing, they may try to defend. Absolutely. As will chimpanzees and even gorillas. They'll do all their little bluff charge. They'll start screaming. You'll hear a lot of noises. But to think that they're gonna, I see a human now, I'm gonna tear them apart. No, they don't. They didn't do that in the first place. Right. So they would reset to their old selves and just be even more cautious. Is what they would be.
More likely, they would leave that area.
Oh, absolutely. They'd be out of there like. They'd be out of there like.
Oh, let's get out of here. We're missing Dave there, got captured. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but let's get out of here before they get us too.
Yeah, they're not like that. They're going to take off. As do the chimps. The chimps will make a hoot and holler now. But chimpanzees can be really devious too. Let's face the facts there. They can wait.
That's the thing. We'd have to kind of put up a theory there, or what could they do? And I'll tell you what, if we relate that back, if we use Bigfoot intellect and compare that with primate intellect of like a chimpanzee. Now, I happen to believe, and it's been proven, okay, chimpanzees have a good memory. They have a very good memory.
Sure.
They can
all primates do. Yeah, all primates do. Yep.
They can recognize your face and they know you. They can remember you.
And they can remember your voice.
Right.
They can remember,
So Would these creatures likely have a good memory? Yes. And if you did
But
something bad to them, would they remember it? Oh, yes.
they
Oh, yes.
would, but they would look at it in context of like, oh, we better avoid these even more because what's their
Right.
first defense? Avoidance.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure
And
they realize snakes are not especially good for them too. So they probably avoid, you know, rattlesnakes, copperheads, whatever other kind of poisonous snake, water moccasins. And that would be the thing about going and looking for a yowie in Australia. Man, I feel sorry for those guys because they got more poisonous snakes than we do in Kentucky. And that's saying a lot. Or I said poisonous, venomous. You go out. I think in Australia, the spiders will even kill you. Worst things we got around here is black widows and brown recluse.
but they won't kill you. They won't kill you.
Just make you sick as crap. But
Some yes, some no.
hey,
but you know what?
Wizard Adirondacks. Whoops.
But you see, here's the amazing thing.
Good to see you.
Hello, John. Here's the amazing thing. Here's the amazing thing on that, Chris, is that for the most part, like spiders, as with most animals in the animal kingdom, they don't want to go to that engage with us type of behavior. I watch countless videos of numerous guys handling spiders that are not attacking them because they're holding them or even picking them up. In fact, he had a spider. He put his hand out, and the spider crawled right on him. Yeah. They same thing with lions and tigers and elephants. They don't just tigers don't go, oh, there's something to eat. Let me go get it. No, they watch and they observe, and if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone most of the time because guess what? You're not on their dinner menu.
Right.
Right. So a lot of animals are misunderstood in that respect. And I think a Sasquatch, like I said, they're going to revert back to the way they were, after it's all done, they're going to be very scared of us. They're not going to go on the attack. That's something we would do. Vengeance is vengeance, right? Yeah. Revenge, vengeance, justice. Those are all Homo sapien terms.
Yeah.
And to think that a Sasquatch would wait till the same person comes back and grab them, that's very anthropocentric. That's something we would do, not a Sasquatch or any other animal in the kingdom would do normally. Well, community dynamics.
Okay.
Let's talk about community dynamics. Bigfoot-related groups may see a surge in membership as more people become interested in learning about and discussing Bigfoot. Can you imagine what Dr. Matt Johnson would say? They captured one of the tracheons, or they captured one of the Janu. How dare they? And they're going to give you all this misinformation, and they're going to tell you it's this and that. It's not. It's not an ape. Yeah. Well, guess what, Dr. Johnson? We're apes too, and you're a scientist. You have a PhD behind your name and a doctor name, a DR in front of your salutation. You damn well know that humans are apes as well. We're part of the great ape family. So if that was ever said, that would be my response to it.
Yeah, well, I would totally agree. There would be some weirdos come out.
But you would see some of the more weirdos losing face very quickly. Right?
Yeah.
I wonder how. Started studying I wonder how many people would jump off the Ketchum train.
And I don't know. That could bring another point of it. Look, we have angel DNA creatures. We've captured them. Now we should all go and worship.
Yeah, well, when they do the real DNA this time, they'll figure out real quick that she was full of.
This ain't nothing like what she had.
She was peeing on people's legs, telling them it was raining.
This is not a bear, right? Look nothing like bear DNA.
There could be intense debates and discussions within these communities about the implications of discovery and the best ways to protect. Well, we're having an intense debate tonight about the implication of discovery and the best way to protect the study of Bigfoot. We're already doing that. Because we tend to be, Sorth would be mad.
Yeah.
Maybe they would kick Johnson off the council.
Maybe. Oh, man.
Wait.
Beep. Okay.
They would kick him off the council. And for those that are listening to the podcast, when we do upload it to, we eventually do upload because I haven't done uploads in about a month or so. I tend to do them in groups. You got that beep, you'll understand. The beautiful thing about that, the beautiful thing, and probably the most significant to me, would be the credibility and validation of our witnesses.
Yeah.
And we did lend discovery to many Bigfoot researchers who have dedicated years into the subject, as well as the witnesses who have preceded them. And again, mainstream media might feature it more on the platforms. So you might see.
Well, yeah, but I know how the critics think, though. They'll say, well, just because Bigfoot is proven to exist doesn't prove that you saw one. So, in other words, you're still alive.
Oh, no. Trust me. That's how the skeptics will think.
That's exactly how they think. Yeah,
right?
Just because it's been proven to exist don't mean you saw one.
But the media won't jump on that train. No, they're going to want to capitalize on it. Believe me.
Mm-hmm.
You can see specials on this. What does it mean? How is it going to impact?
Those guys are a piece of work.
And the reason why I know that is because I would be having the same type of podcasts.
Right. What would we be talking about? The same things we always talk about, except this time maybe we'll have some examples. We can say, well, we always thought that Bigfoot lived in family groups, and now it turns out, sure enough, we were right. That's right. Love it. I would love all the new. If they could do some actual research and do behavioral studies and stuff, wouldn't that be interesting? To have a documented research papers that we could discuss about what type of behaviors they exhibit, and have it talk about it as fact rather than theory. That would be so cool.
Yep.
Be so cool.
Again, localities may, they're already doing this, but local localities may start a tourist business. There are localities doing that already.
Sure.
And, imagine the merchandising. You think it's bad now. Wait till this, if this was ever to break, it'd be 1,000-fold.
Yeah.
Because, ethical considerations. Responsible reporting. With increased attention, there would be a greater emphasis on ethical reporting and responsible dissemination of information. Because guess what, folks? At that point, there will be a national center or a couple of scientific centers that you're going to report your Bigfoot sighting to, not some Bigfoot group with, some schmuck named Steve or anybody, making what you'll do is you'll end up putting your report in front of a panel of scientists, and they will, they're going to look at the report and they're going to say, oh yeah, Bigfoot was, he was playing a banjo. No, he wasn't.
Well, that is
Bigfoot. Hold on, Bigfoot came through the teleportation device. Nope, he's not. I saw a Bigfoot run across the road. My sighting was about 10, 15 seconds tops.
Yeah.
There we are. Yeah, that's the right one. Those are the ones that are going to. So there will be a whole new reporting structure, and it won't be any of us doing it.
Well, that's the thing. If these things, when they're discovered, when they're proven to exist, And instead of if somebody has an eyewitness encounter, if they ring up their local universities, like if they did it now, somebody would say, "I'm sorry, we don't do that stuff."
Trackway said it'll probably be the state DNR, or in New York's case, we can't be like everybody else. We have environmental conservation.
But after they exist, you could probably call up if they're proven to exist, you could call up your local university, and they would say, "Hold on, we've got somebody. We want you to don't hang up. Hold on." But now,
if you call the right university, because not all universities are equipped to deal with that type of other things. Conservation advocacy. Many platforms might take on a more active role in advocating for Bigfoot conservation and protection efforts. And there'll be channels dedicated to protecting Bigfoot. And
Mick, I think there was actually a movie about something like that. I think it was called The Watchers. I think where they trained Bigfoot to be like a killer or something. He worked with a dog, and it was really weird. They had some sort of psychic connection or something. I don't know.
The notes are on the floor.
Oh, was that all of them?
It's all of them.
All right.
All my show notes.
Well, this has been a great discussion so far. I've enjoyed it.
Yep. So I'm going to have to see, what? It's going to, a person in my position, and in reality, how many people out there would be hating the position I'm in? Because what's going to end up happening is, there's only a few of us in our area, that the first thing that's going to happen is local media is going to be calling me and calling Paul Bartholomew. Saying, hey, well, sure, it exists. And it's going to be hell. A person in.
What if the government comes out with a plan that says, wait a minute, no, we can't protect these things. These are a danger to humans. We've got to exterminate them.
That's not going to happen. That won't happen. Won't happen.
I don't know.
Nah. Now, those are some wild out there.
Listen, I did the Native Americans, man, and they were human.
Right. Yeah, well, they had something we wanted, land.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to sound like the 5,000 YouTube channels out there that saying there was a second shooter on the tower. Right. When ballistics proved that there was no shots at any other angle but the one that was from the.
Yeah.
Right.
Got you.
Let me make this. I'm not into conspiracy theory normally. There are, however, a couple of theories I do believe in. I do believe the UAP cover-ups or the UFO cover-ups with Roswell and Kecksburg. I do believe.
Three Stooges reference there. I like that.
No.
Grew up watching the Stooges.
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing? Shaving the ice. Excuse me. Did you have a pink necktie? No. Here's your lip back.
Steve grew up with them too.
Absolutely. I can't go down the road, and I don't want the show ever to go down that road of the rabbit hole conspiracy theory stuff, because unless it's proven, it's nothing but theory based on what? We would be MK Davis saying that that red spot, even though I put red coloring on the film, that red area, that brownish area, that's blood, and there was a massacre. How do you know that?
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, we're just, theorizing here what happens when Bigfoot is discovered. So
Yes.
That's one of the theories.
John, that's never going to happen. None of us will be involved with that because we don't have academic degrees behind our names. Maybe some will, like Dr. Meldrum, Dr. Sarmiento. Maybe a few chosen ones will get chosen to tag along and be the guy. Go get the cast, Steve. Go get the casting material, Steve. But you're not going to be doing anything really crucial to the study of it. You're going to be the gopher. And that's
Oh, the chat is hopping.
well, exactly. Why would government cover up Bigfoot's existence? The only I always say this, Kaiju Ninja, if there is a cover up or a reluctance to admit it, it's usually at the local levels. Because let me give you a good example: the Georgia dash cam video, the police video that had that bipedal hairy thing running across the road. Do you think for 1 second that was fake? Because I have an issue with it. I have a big issue with it. First of all, when a cop spins around and starts calling into the woods, police off, sheriff's department, blah, 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 blah. You're in a costume, you're going to come out because you're afraid you're going to be shot.
Yeah.
Right? Number two, the sheriff, like 3 days later, said, I went out to that area. I found the college student they had. But you know what? Nobody was ever named. Right. No picture of the costume was ever taken. Yeah. None of that. And why was it done? Because the sheriff didn't want a bunch of yahoos running around in his jurisdiction with guns hunting for Bigfoot. Simple as that.
He solved the crime.
That's where the cover-ups happen. That's how the cover-ups go on. So I'm very certain that what you see, and there is an actual Sasquatch running across the Georgia dash cam video.
For public safety reasons, they made up a story and said, don't worry, you're safe. Just to prevent mass panic.
Let me stop right there. Don't ever try, Tennessee Cherokee said, don't ever try to claim Freedom of Information Act with local coppers. I've done a Freedom of Information Act on a Bigfoot sighting that occurred in 1983 in Waterford, New York. Very small local police department.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you know, I got the police report and they did not retract the names. I had all the participants' names and I reached out and talked to the witnesses.
Yeah.
So
not all of them is.
It's not all of them. It's not all of them. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just because it happens once or twice or even 5 times doesn't mean it's going to happen your 6th, 7th, or 8th time.
Right. There's always going to be a small percentage that are going to stonewall you and cover stuff up. But there's other guys that are just out there doing their job and they're trying to do it right.
Yeah, I was shocked they did not redact any of the names, which was amazing. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting occurrence. It'll be earth-shattering to us. To the mainstream John Doe, that's pretty friggin' interesting. Oh yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. But it's not to us. It'll be earth-shattering. It'll rock our foundations, and what we're going to find out afterwards will rock our foundations even more. Because then we're going to start getting answers, and unfortunately, there are going to be some people, myself included, that may have to eat a little crow. Said, hey, I was wrong on this. Right? But I have a feeling more often I'll be not eating crow on some things because I've never really said much about definitive things. I have suggested things and hypothesized things, but I've never said this is fact.
Right.
So
no, I don't think we're going to have to eat any crow about anything.
I don't.
Anytime we've ever announced a speculated or postulated theory, we've always said, "Now look, this is just my theory." Don't mean that we're not speaking as matter of fact.
Right. Right.
Other
But-
than that, they
But the people that say, oh, they're aliens or they're jumping through portals or they're the Janu or they're going to be eating a lot of crow.
yeah, well, you know, okay, if they prove
including the cat vet that got kicked off the court system for testifying.
if they prove that Bigfoot's use portals, okay, I'll be willing to eat a plate of crow. I'm fine with that. You know,
Right. Yeah.
I just want to see it.
Right.
Open up a portal and let a Bigfoot pop out. I want to see that.
Finding the trackway. Is Chris coming up? No, he is not. Chris is staying home in Kentucky.
Yeah,
I'll be there. And like I said, I'm not really running a big booth this year. I'm going to be doing a Squatch-D TV booth rather than a merchandise booth this year. So,
Martin, I'm right there with you.
yeah, Martin said, we can say this. Martin said he'll eat poop if Bigfoot was proven to go through portals. He will eat poop. Does that mean corn or no corn?
It doesn't matter. I don't think we're going to have to worry about it. But I will eat crow. Yeah, I don't care. I'll eat everything else. Crow wouldn't bother me none.
Right. You know, and the other thing is that, you know, you hear out of particular camps that there are disinformation agents. I've been accused of it. Brent Dill from the Tall Ones have been accused of it. Dr. Meldrum's been accused. Oh, we're
Black.
we are government agents. Oh yeah. You know, if I'm doing this 24/7, I'm such a government agent. You know, I have to go out and work like everybody else. I still have bills to pay.
Government job.
Oh yeah, it's just amazing. But anyway, Chris, I think we're going to take off a little early tonight.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun topic, man. I've had a blast talking about if Bigfoot is discovered. You know, what happens next. It's a great topic, and I hope to see it. I hope to see it come to fruition. I hope, you know, anytime. Of course, you never know. We could wake up tomorrow. You know, boom! Hey, we were good. We got a Bigfoot.
You never know. That's the beautiful thing about life. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
That's right.
So, but I do know it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to take my wife's car in for an oil change, or SUV in for an oil change.
Right. Yeah. I need to do my oil change on my vehicle too. To get
and inspection.
Time, you know?
I get a car inspected too. And then, thank you, sir.
Oh, right back at you, Martin. Love you, man.
and then Tuesday, I'm bringing mine in for an oil change because I got that long drive coming up.
Yep.
10 hours. So I'll be leaving very early Thursday to make the dinner. So it should be. I'm hoping to hitch a ride with somebody for the dinner because after 10 hours of driving, I don't feel like driving another half hour to dinner and back.
Well, get rested up after you get there, man. Just take it easy because I know it's
I'll be
fine.
fine.
Rough.
I'll be fine. Driving doesn't bother me as much as it did a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Like I said, right now, neck is starting to bother me sitting in this chair for a while. So,
yeah.
Thank you, Kaiju Ninja. Yeah, we always try to have some great, if you're new here around here, you know, we try to have some great discussions. Sometimes we have guests. It's summertime, so guests are kind of in and out vacationing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, there's other people they're doing conferences. So, we tend to do talk shows and topical shows during this time period. And we have a lot of fun doing it.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
So, Tennessee Cherokee, am I going to see you in Ohio? That's the question I have. And Bill and Mrs. Trackway, I look forward to seeing you next week as well, Jen. Look forward to seeing you. But it's going to be a heck of a good time.
Yeah.
And, you know, for all those that are in this chat, if you want to come on and get on a video with me, let's do it. I'm going to have all the time. I'm not selling anything. I am there for the people and there to shoot film for the channel this year. A little change of plans. So I'm not being
No merchandising. You're just going to be there for
right.
just meet the people.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
Yep. So,
well, I'll just go ahead and tell everybody thank you for spending your Sunday evening with us. We appreciate you.
yep.
And you guys are the greatest. We're lucky to have you. Wouldn't be a show without you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Blue Ridge Bigfoot. I'd love to see you there.
Yeah. Come on out. If you're anywhere near Logan, Ohio, come on out.
Yeah, even if it's a 4 or 5 hour drive, it's going to be worth the trip, man. Great speaking guests. They'll all be speaking Saturday. We're not speaking Friday. We're speaking Saturday this year. Only one day of speakers, which is kind of nice because then, it's a lot less confusion.
Right.
And, but Friday, oh God, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then what I'll be doing Tuesday and Wednesday is charging all the gear. But I tell you what, we're going to do a live stream Wednesday night, 9 p.m. for an hour before I head off to Ohio Thursday morning. And we'll check in and see what we're going to do. We'll have an official game plan for the channel on Wednesday night, so you can all catch in for all our members. So we're going to have a podcast for our members. And we'll do some behind the scenes stuff, and we'll be a little bit more informal. So, but anyway, Chris, do your thing. It is 10:46.
Again, thanks, Martin. Appreciate you guys. It's the first time watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast or something, come on over to the YouTube channel and make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit a thumbs up on the video, share it, like it. It always helps with the algorithm. We appreciate you guys, and we're always honored and humbled to have you. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. You can also do a membership if you want for less than the price of a cup of coffee. Significantly less than the price of a cup of coffee these days. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Go ahead, Steve.
And folks, if you're new around here, check out some of our good friends' channels. Nikki over at Sasquatch Secrets, great channel over there.
Yeah.
The tall ones, Brent. Bill, the tall ones, great channel. Matt Larson from Central Florida Bigfoot. Great channel. Check them all out. Check them out. Jeremiah Byron over at the Bigfoot Society podcast. Another good talk show. So check them out. Give them a watch. Tactical Bigfoot Research. He doesn't do too many videos, but check his channel out too. Subscribe. And folks, if you're new around here, remember on the way out, hit that like button if you've enjoyed the conversation tonight. And we will be back here in a week and a half. Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern for whatever show. We're going to probably do a little bit of a recap on the conference that Friday night. So be a real good time. And folks, like I said, you're going to see a heck of a lot of content, a lot of interviews from that conference. So everybody.
Next show will be Friday night on the 9th of
August.
Okay.
Oh, God, it's track season. Track season in New York, where I live. See, I live in Washington County, but a lot of times I have to go through Saratoga County. In the last week of July, they start track season, or maybe I don't know. I don't pay no attention to it, but all I know is this place is a zoo for the next 5 or 6 weeks. So they run it till Labor Day, Labor Day weekend. But anyway, folks, everybody be safe, be good, and most of all, God bless. God bless. And keep on squatching. We'll catch you all here back on August 9th, 2024. Everybody be safe.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too.
Hey, wait a minute. August 9th is a Sunday.
Oh, is it?
And we're back.
Let's see. No, it's a Friday.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's Friday. August 4th would be this coming Sunday. The 9th is this next Friday, not this coming Friday.
Okay, just double checking. Okay, everybody have a great night. Bye.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit...
Another false start?
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member, and it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.